What's up? So it is 100% worth it to automate all of the various gaps in your workflow, and I'm going to show you why. Because I have automated and consolidated the majority of my photo processing workflow into one singular dmenu script here. This has almost all of the options I regularly use, barring the placeholders here that I'm going to add more scripts to it, but it has all of my options and it is one key press away, instead of having to open one application and export a file and then import that into another application, and then, deal with, I also have to batch process with these particular scripts, and I have to remember the parameters for those scripts. No, none of that, no more. It is all in one singular menu here, and I can basically access everything that I need just from one, menu option, and then just select through or fuzzy find, and then I've got everything that I want. And this first option, for example, this is taking my most recently edited Darktable image. It is opening it as a PNG file in GIMP. I've got viewing folders, so just quickly previewing a folder. Say I want to just preview this real quick in NSXIV. It's just going to query the list of folders from my global photo directory. Let me fuzzy search through them if I want to, and then I can just open it up, or I can type a path if I want to type a path. I can remove or check EXIF data. I can scale images. I can convert images from various formats. I can watermark images, and then I have to add in all of my other image magic scripts that do all sorts of other, image magic related processing. And it essentially just automates the process of me having to type either out a script name and give it all of the parameters and remember those parameters for it, or open an application and navigate through menus and open the right files, all that sort of stuff. Nope, that is just done via fuzzy finding now with dmenu. So downscaling images, right? Say I want to give it a directory to downscale, I can just enter, okay, over what size, 10 megabytes, over what scale, or down to what scale, 50%. Boom, there we go. Even with my previous script that I had for this, it would have been like a downscale, and then I want to give it the parameters, right? So, 50, and then 10, and then I have to type out my path to my images. Nope. It is just as simple as selecting that menu option, and it will go ahead and run it for me. Simple stuff like checking EXIF counts on files. I can give it that same path. That's just going to give me a notification with the EXIF data counts. Of course, I could modify this if I wanted to instead fuzzy find through those files and actually have a notification that gave the entire EXIF data of that file. I could do that. I have simple, EXIF data removal, so I can just give it that path again. It's going to remove all the EXIF data in that path. Simple stuff, but it's all in one place, and I don't have to worry about finding the right script, remembering the parameters, opening the right applications, going from application to application. My goal is essentially bridging all of the gaps between the various applications and scripts that I use so that it is in one singular menu, one key press away. And this concept is absolutely not specific to photo editing. This could apply to really any workflow where maybe you're using 3 or 4 or 5 different applications, and you also have shell scripts that you're using. You can consolidate it all into either one script or one menu so that it is all one key press away, rather than having to, exert the mental energy of what application do I need to open to do this particular thing, and where do I, have my images stored, and or whatever else, whatever applies to you. I'm sure you get what I'm trying to say here. Anyway, so I'm relying on dmenu for a lot of this script, but of course you could just replace this with wmenu if you're on Wayland, and I just have, the basic script here is just giving me these options and linking them back to functions. My first function here is transferring photos off of my SD card. That's the transfer photos function up here. Essentially just I plug in my SD card, I run that, and it will automatically create a folder for today's date. It will move all of my photos off of my SD card into that folder, and then once they are done transferring, it will prompt me whether I want to open Darktable or just do nothing and unmount the card. And this I actually have made a full video about if you want to learn how UDEV rules work, so I'm not gonna dwell on this particular function too much, but there is a video about this if you want to learn how that one works. My Darktable to GIMP function, I can actually show you this in real time because when I first do this, just by itself, this PNG file already existed, so it's not gonna have to deal with exporting it or anything. But if I have a CR2 file in Darktable that I'm gonna make some edits on, so I can go, open folder, let me, go to a folder here, open it up, I'm gonna make some edits on this CR2 file. I don't know, I'll just select the first one, do some random stuff on it. I can just, up the brilliance and, let's I don't know, do some random stuff. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyways, so that is done. That is edited in Darktable, quit out of Darktable. Let me do Darktable to GIMP here. It is now going to export that to a PNG file, since GIMP can read PNGs but not CR2s. So export it to a PNG, and then it will open GIMP. And essentially, I just have a check here to see whether a PNG file already exists. So with that grosbeak from before, it already had a PNG file for it, but with this Baltimore Oriole, there was no PNG file, so it's now going to create one. And then it will open GIMP once that PNG is created. To actually get that path, it's just checking through Darktable's database. That of all of the various stuff in this script. Alright, so this is going to open it up. It should have the edits that I just made on it. Come on. Alright, yeah, there we go. My image files actually do take a fair amount of time to open just because they're all huge files. High megapixel count cameras. Your files will be huge. Anyways, so this particular querying through Darktable's database, this probably took me the most time out of this entire script. This entire script probably took no more than like 2 hours, and this took a solid 30 minutes of this to figure out how this works. But anyways, so yeah, this is just querying through Darktable's database, read only so that it doesn't corrupt the database. It's going to get the most recently opened / edited image, and then it's going to do what I said about, you know, figuring out does it already have a PNG or not, and then just open it up in GIMP. I've got my open folder and view folder functions, which are basically the same thing, just switching whether I want to view it quickly in NSXIV or open up a folder in Darktable. It's just going to ls out from my global folder directory here. It's going to sort it, and then it's going to pipe that into dmenu. It's also just going to give me the type path option if I want to actually type a path in manually. Choice to whether I want to type that or just use the folder that was selected, and then it will go ahead and open that up with the specified program. I've got all of my ImageMagick modification stuff here, so with Mogrify and Composite and the other various ImageMagick commands. And I also have EXIF tool stuff here as well. And by the way, EXIF tool, the original Perl program, is probably the best EXIF tool modification program available. If any of you guys are working with EXIF data at all, yeah, this one's probably the best one available. Just, I don't know. I'll make a separate video on it at some point. But anyways, yeah, so I can remove EXIF data, or I can check EXIF data and just get a little notification of what the EXIF counts are on a particular photo folder. And I also have converting PNGs, JPGs, just using Mogrify to do that. Downscaling images, and it will prompt me for all of the various parameters as I downscale, rather than, you know, me having to remember on my original script what order do I need to put these parameters in and then have to type out, you know, the full directory. Nope, it is all just in one menu now. I'm just using find here with some PNG to JPG or JPEG just to figure out, you know, what are my images. And watermarking, again, the same thing, just use Composite instead of Mogrify, since Composite is just going to allow me to slap another image on top of the original ImageMagick stuff, and I'm gonna add in more ImageMagick commands here. So I will probably, once I upload this to GitHub, I will probably have a lot more commands added and some other stuff in it as well, but essentially, you get the idea. This is all just taking all of the various stuff I do, putting it in one menu where I can easily just navigate through the menu, be prompted as needed, and type in stuff and have it be way easier than having to navigate through all sorts of various applications and figuring out what scripts I'm going to need to use. Nope, it is way easier now. So anyways, my suggestion is try to apply this kind of process to your own workflow if you have the ability to automate gaps between applications or gaps between, you know, maybe you have a collection of scripts that you use. Stick it into a dmenu prompt or stick it into one singular thing that is all consolidated, all at your fingertips. Anyways, you get the idea. Hope you enjoyed. I will see you next time. Peace.